Good afternoon, wonderful candidate, and I welcome you again to your study part. So, like we started last week, we were on an adventure with the past question, right? So, we started with 2020. So, definitely today we are moving to 2019. So, we are taking it 2020, 2019. No, sorry, 2020, 2021. In 2022, 2023, and 2024. So, it is an arithmetic progression, right? So let's move on to 2021. All right. So, all right. Now, question one. So I hope you have your past questions with you so that you can follow me as I read through. So it will be, you understand it explicitly and implicitly as well. So, question one. When a country's population is experiencing increasing returns, that country is said to be dash. A, overpopulated. B, economically poor. C, overproducing goods and services. Then D, underpopulated. When a country's population is experiencing increasing returns. Now, like I always say, anytime you see any question in Jamb, you should have a framework of the answer. You should have a framework. So that means that don't allow Jamb to predict or to let you know. Don't let them direct you. Okay, you need to direct yourself. You need to have a framework of the answer. So it is that framework that will take you to the options. Then any option that align with your own framework, then that is the what the answer. Okay, so don't let them just toss you up and down because most of the time, to be frank, actually, if you should go through the options sometimes, there are some options that looks, slightly synonymous, but you just need to have the framework in your mind. So that's the framework you work with. Okay. Now, so when I see this question, I know number one, it is considering population. Secondly, I am seeing increasing returns, right? Now, increasing returns is a concept in production. Now, you see how I'm trying to digress this. So that means that, okay, there are two things this question is trying to test me on. It's testing me on population, good. It's also testing me on increasing returns, which is a concept in production, right? And what's the meaning of increasing returns? Increasing returns means when your total productivity is what is increasing. Are you following? All right. Now, they now said, so now let's go back to the question. So that means that I have understood the meaning of increasing returns, that production is increasing. Is that not it? And I have seen population there. Is that not? So therefore, already with having this thing at the back of your mind, I already have a framework of what the answer should be. So therefore, I will go to the option and see that option that tallies with my answer. Okay? So let's go. Number one, it said A, overpopulated. B, economically poor. C, overproducing goods and services. Then D, underpopulated. So what should be the answer? Increasing returns. I'm telling you, production is increasing, right? Good. Then population. So what should be the answer? The answer should be what? Overpopulation. So the answer is A. Are you getting it now? Good. So the thing is, it's always advisable create a framework. That's why every question you need to know or have an idea on the topic per se where they are testing you on. All right, good. So let's move on to question 2. External diseconomies of scale result from excessive growth of dash. Don't go through the option yet. Though limited time, you have to be fast. That's why practice makes perfect, right? So you have to practice on your own. Is that not it? Practice on your own. The time is 2 hours for subjects. Is that not it? So that means give or take, you should use 20 minutes for 40 questions, right? 20 minutes. Economics has some calculations, yes, okay. But give or take, you should practice yourself with 20 minutes or 25 tops, okay? So with that, you'll be very, very fast in what? In knowing where the topic is coming from and what, some things that the questions or the possible answers that that will likely be what is in the option. So question 2, external diseconomies of scale. So now what is external diseconomies of scale? External diseconomies of scale. Now, if you observe, this topic is under what? Production. Again, you can see now, production. Now, there's something we call long run production. Is that not it? We have long run production and we have short run production. Is that not it? Good. Now, so under the long run production, we have what you call scale of production. Okay, so it is under the long run we have scale of production. So under that scale of production, that's where you'll be having what you call external economies of scale. Okay, that's where you'll be having economies of scale under that scale of production. Then number 2, you have what? Diseconomies of scale. Diseconomies of scale. Okay, so under short run, so short run is telling you that you have what? You have what you call the total product, average product, and then marginal product. Where the end result of this thing is called what? Average increasing returns, constant returns, and decreasing returns. So for production has 2 concepts, the long run and the short run. So under the long run, we have the scale of production, which is what? Economies of scale and diseconomies of scale. Then under the short run, we have total product, average product, and marginal product. So under this total product, average and marginal product, what is it giving us? What is it achieving? What is the objective? Is what? Increasing returns, constant returns, and what? Decreasing returns. So what does increasing returns means? Increasing returns simply means when marginal productivity is increasing. Constant return simply means when marginal productivity has attained what? The 0 level. Then what is decreasing returns? That means when your marginal productivity has gone below 0, which is what? Negative. Are you getting it? So increasing returns, marginal productivity is increasing. Constant returns, marginal productivity is 0. Then decreasing returns, marginal productivity is what? Negative. Now, so what is economies of scale? Advantages. Okay, what is diseconomies? Disadvantages of being what? Now, this is attributed to what? To big firms. Firms that are what? Huge, that are big. So any firm that is big in size enjoys economies of scale. Now, everything that has an advantage also have what? Disadvantage. So any company, any big firm that is enjoying economies of scale, it will also suffer these economies of scale. Yeah, are you getting it? Good. That is why I'm going to represent it in this scenario. I'm going to be having something we call here to be what? LAC. You are dealing with the long run. So this is what? Long run average cost. Now, this is the long run average cost. Okay? Now, I will have something like this here. This is my output. This is my cost. So that means that when the cost is coming down and my production is increasing, please take note of this. This zero. My production is increasing, right? As my production is increasing, my cost is what? Decreasing. So this is what? An advantage to the business. So we call it what? Economies of scale. But now, if you look here, my cost is what? Is increasing. But my at the same time, my quantity that I'm producing is also what? Increasing. So this is what? Is a disadvantage. So this is what? Diseconomies of scale. Are you following now? So already you now have an idea on the topic. So let's go to the question. External economies, diseconomies of scale. Okay. Now, this economies of scale here is divided into two. We have the internal and we have the what? External. Diseconomies to say internal and external. So that means when we say internal, it arises from within. Now, what is those things that can be giving you an advantage from within your company as a big firm? Number one, your labor, your staff, right? So labor economies. Are you following? Then, if you look at external, what might be what? Be coming from what? Outside the organization. Are you following? That is what? Is adding to the growth of the firm. You can say what? Technical or technological economies. Are you following? Then this is diseconomies of scale. We have internal. That means disadvantages that come from within. Are you getting it? It can be machine breakdown, right? Good. Then external as well. What are those external things, those external factors that makes that comes to the company and the company suffer from those things? Number one, it can be what? Government policy or general economic condition. Do you understand? All right. So external diseconomies of scale result from excessive growth of dash. A, the whole industry. The whole industry. B, some sectors of the industry. C, external factor. D, internal factor. Let me take the question again. External diseconomies of scale result from excessive growth of dash. The whole industry, some sectors of the industry, external factor, and internal factor. So what do you think the answer will be? And the answer is just looking at you in the face, which is what? The answer is external factor. Are you following? Good. Now, let's move on to the next. Question 3. Now, BC needs a book costing 10 naira and a hat costing 10 naira. If BC buys the book instead of the hat, the opportunity cost of his choice is the dash. A, the cost of the book. B, cost of the hat. C, book. D, hat. Now, you should know that when you are considering opportunity cost, you are looking at the alternative forgone. Are you following? You are looking at the what? The alternative forgone. So that means that since you are looking at the alternative forgone, you are not considering the what? The cost of that item. You are only considering the item itself. The item, not the cost, not the price, but the item. So he wants to basically need a book. It's a book that he needs, and the book costs what? 10 naira, and the art costing 10 naira. So now he bought the book instead of the art. So that means the art is the what? Opportunity cost. D. 4. In an economy, if the proportion of people who are below 18 years is 40%, are you following? In an economy, if the proportion of people who are below 18 years is 40% and those above 60 is 30%, what would this imply? Now, break down the details. Break it down. For the sake of explanation, that is why to answer a single question is taking time, okay? But it's just for you to understand it better. Now, below 18, how many percent? We have 40%. So you observe that the young below 18, and you should know that in any population, anybody or any category of people below 18 is what? Is dependent population. You should know that. Dependent population. Are you following? Then anybody that is within 18 to 60 is what? Independent population. So I think I have to give you that. All this is for you to have a framework so that you will know the option that tallies with your framework. So below 18, that is, let me just give you an age from 0 to 18, okay, or 0 to 17. I will give you there as dependent. 17 or 18 to 60. Sometimes it can be 18 to 65, but 18 to 60, that is what? Independent. You can call it the what? The workforce or the labor force. Then 60 and above or 61 and above. They are the old people, right? So those ones who are dependent population. Now, these old people, we can also call them static population or stationary population, okay, or aging population, Now, let's go back to the question. It said, in an economy, so this is the question now. So we want to list out, and above 60 is 30%. So above 60 is 30%. So you know that if you calculate now, out of 100%, what do you have? You have 70% what? Dependent population. The question did not give you this. So you gave yourself this framework, right? Okay. Now, what would this imply? Already you know that 70% is what? Is dependent population. So now your mind is now working based on what you have read. Now, okay, dependent population, people that they are not eligible to work, right? That means productivity. Already your mind is now calculating productivity will be low. Okay, now let me go to the option. So you want to look for something that tallies with that framework. So let's go to option A. Option A says dependency ratio is high. Option B says population is optimum. Option C says ratio of females to male is high. Option D says population is growing according to Malthusian theory. So already, due to that framework, you already know what your answer is. And the answer is what? Dependency ratio is high. So the answer is A. Okay? Now, they said something there, Malthusian. Don't forget, Malthusian theory, we have two theories that is associated with population. The Malthusian theory and the demographic transition theory. Demographic transition theory. Okay? Now, what are these theories in very, very simple concept and theory? Now, Malthusian, don't forget, it was propounded by, a clergyman who we call a pastor. Okay? His name is Thomas Malthus. Then economics is a social science. So most of the time, when people deduce some theories, they attach their name to it. Okay? Now, so Thomas Malthus was the person that deduced this Malthusian theory. And I explained it last week. This theory states that population is increasing geometrically while food is increasing arithmetically. Are you following? That's all. So Malthus is saying that the population is growing very, very high geometrically, while population is now increasing what? While the food that is meant to sustain the population is now increasing what? Arithmetically. That means the rate of growth, if you calculate the rate of growth between population and food, that means food is not going to meet the population. So what Malthus is saying is that the population is increasing very, very well. So he gives some certain reasons. And what are those reasons? Hope you are jotting these things down. Now, he gave some certain reasons. He said one, he said farming implements are crude. Are crude. I'm very, very surprised for a pastor to be talking like this. He said he didn't stop there. He said they are crude and that it can never be what? Be improvised. It can never increase. It can never improve. Pastor, you see, he said it can never improve. So that is the reason for that state of the economy. You get it? Now, and he also go further and said there are ways. Okay, fine. He has come to the conclusion that farming cannot improve. Are you getting it? He now went further and said, okay, since it is like this, we have to control the population. So the guy now said, okay, to control population, you will need something like birth control, right? I'm sure everybody knows birth control. Is that not it? Then he now still went further and said population can be controlled by the use of war. That means from that statement, literally some countries can what? Can artificially create war to reduce population. You see? And the outbreak of some certain diseases. So that means that diseases break forth. Sometimes it can be artificial. It's not an epidemic. It's epidemic, but it is what? Artificial. It was created. Right? All these things matters. But when you move on to demographic transition theory, it's just saying that the population is in 3 stages. Just 3 stages. First stage, we have the what? The transition stage. The transition stage. Let me write it at the upper region where you can see very well. I hope you are getting this. It's a very simple concept. So now, the stages in demographic. So one, we have the transition. Okay, so this transition. So before transition should be pre-transition. Then after transition should be post-transition. Okay, so pre-transition is the first stage, transition is the second stage, then post-transition is the what? The third stage. Now, what is pre-transition saying? Pre-transition is saying that this economy is what? Is an undeveloped economy. An undeveloped economy. And what is happening in this undeveloped economy? What is happening here is that, don't forget, if I say BR, I mean birth rate, right? If I say H, I mean high. So HBR, higher birth rate. LBR, lower birth rate. Then population, P. LP, lower population. IP, higher population. Now, and same thing for death rate, that will be DR, right? So pre-transition states that there is what? There is higher birth rate and what? Higher death rate. See now, that is pre-transition, an undeveloped economy, meaning there is no form of population control system. births are increasing per thousands. Births will be increasing per thousands. Then death will also be increasing per thousands. Then transition. Transition is like a developing economy. They are trying to stand like Nigeria now. Okay, Nigeria. I know some people are saying no, with faith, yes, but let's say reality. Okay. Now transition. Transition is where they are not trying to stand on their ground. Are you following? So as they are standing on their ground, they will now start taking how to control birth rate, right? So therefore, birth rate will now reduce. You have lower birth rates, but something will still happen because they are still undeveloped. They have not yet mastered some technology, so their death rate will still be high. So they will also have what higher death rate. Are you following? Now, post transition, this is where you are having lower birth rate and lower death rate. Like these are developed economies. Are you following? So these are the what? When you talk about Malthusian and the theories of population, it is Malthusian theory and demographic transition theory. So this is all it entails. So along the line in this adventure, the questions we see, we are going to treat them and the topics around it. So let's move on to that question. Question 5 now. Question 5. The following is not a reason for the existence of small firm. Not a reason. You can see that anytime they are they are asking questions like this, they always, deepen the knot so that students will understand. So the following is not a reason for the existence of small firms. That means all those options are reasons. Only one is not a reason. So option A, scale of production is limited by size of the market. Scale of production is limited by size of the market. B, expansion brings diminishing returns. C, large firms can enter for wide markets. D, all of the above. Now, let's take it again. The following is not a reason for the existence of small firms. The following is not a reason for the existence of small firm. A, scale of production is limited by size of the market. B, expansion brings diminishing returns. C, large firm can enter for wide market. D, all of the above. So what do you think the answer will be? So I'm just giving you like 10, I'm giving you 20 seconds. So try to pick out the answer, then I'll say mine now. 20 seconds. Time is ticking. This is a very simple question. TikTok. 15 seconds more. 10 seconds. 5 seconds. 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Now, so that means that when we say existence of small firms, you need to understand what are small firms. Small firms are just there. It is under our production as well. Okay, scale of production, right? Where you have large firms, medium firms, and small firms. Okay, so small firms are firms that their production is limited in scope. Okay, and they have a limited number of size, and they have a limited number of things they can produce. So the question is now trying to ask: the following is not a reason. Is not a reason for the existence of this small firm. Okay, the following is not a reason for the existence of the small firm. So that means all of them are reasons, but only one is not a reason. So from this question, the answer, so option A is scale of production is limited by size of the market. B, expansion brings. So if you observe, if you take, let me take this option B. There's something intriguing there. Expansion brings diminishing returns. Diminishing returns. I've said it earlier. What's diminishing returns? You see these decreasing returns you have here? You see it now? Good. So it's the same thing. This decreasing returns is the same thing as what? Diminishing returns. Right. So the option is A. That is, scale of production is limited by size of. Now, question 6. Under perfect competition, the short-run supply curve of a firm is determined by dash. Perfect competition. A perfect competition, you know, it is a market structure. Now, another name for it is a perfect market. Another name for it again, we call it axiomatic market. Okay. Now, in a perfect market, they can operate in two scenarios. They can operate in the long run and in the what? Short run. That means in the long run, there is no profit. In other words, they break even. In the short run, they make profits. Now, don't forget, they can also make loss as well. But the most important thing is, if it is in the long run, they don't make profit, they break even. That means total revenue equals to total cost. Then in the short run, they make profit. Now, what kind of profit will you call it? You will call it normal profit. Normal profit. Normal profit. Okay. Now, sometimes textbooks make some, typographical error that is abnormal, and most of the time, but when you come to think about it, they make normal profit, because one of the characteristics of a perfect market is that there is what? There is large numbers of buyers and sellers. Okay, large numbers of buyers and sellers. There is free exit and entry. There are price takers, absence of transportation costs, and what? Homogeneous price and product. So all these things are the characteristics of a perfect competition. Okay. Now, so the imperfect market is where you have the monopoly, duopoly, oligopoly. You can also have monopsony, oligopsony, duopsony. But now, do you know the key to all these things is that once you can know, listen, if monopoly is one seller, you all know monopoly is when you have one seller or one major seller and then what? Many buyers. Is that not it? So that means that if I should say monopsony, monopsony is just the what? One buyer, many sellers. Okay, good. So let's move to the question. Now, the question says, under perfect competition, the short-run supply curve of a firm is determined by its dash. A, total cost curve. B, marginal cost curve. C, average fixed cost curve. D, average cost curve. Now, anytime you see a question like this, it's very simple, meaning that the marginal cost, since marginal revenue, the demand curve is gotten from marginal revenue. So therefore, supply curve will be gotten from where? Marginal cost. So our answer is marginal cost. B. Number 7. In a regulated market, price is determined by dash. A, consumer. B, producer. C, auction. D, CLO, regulated. That means anything regulated is what? It doesn't have that free hand, that flexibility. So the answer is what? Government. D. Number 9. Number 8, sorry. An accurate population census is important in order to. So what's population census? when you count the total number of people that reside in a particular geographical area. So an accurate population census is important in order to estimate a country's per capita income, fast track industrial development, produce more food for the growing population, provide employment opportunity for the people. The best answer is what? Estimate country's per capita income. A. All right? For 9. So what's the meaning of per capita income? That is income per head. All right? Income per head. So the income per head is the main reason why we undergo population census. Okay? There are other reasons like allocation of scarce resources and all that. So, question 9. Scarcity in economics means that A, human wants are limitless, the economy has very few resources, the economy can scarcely produce anything, resources are limited in relation to want. So the answer is what? D. Good. I can see people saying D, D, D. All right. Question 10. If the price of an item increased by 8%, while quantity demand falls from 1,500 units to 1,492 units, the demand is said to be dash perfectly like that, like that, like that. Now, so we come here. Price increase by, that is price increase equals to what? 8%. Now, quantity demand falls, right? It falls. So that means I will have Q. So Q1, Q2. Okay. So now they said this guy is falling. The quantity is falling from 1,500 units to 1,492. So definitely Q1 is 1,500 and the next one is 1,492. All right. So price increased by 8%. Then you have this. So you don't need to stress yourself. So you have to look for price elasticity of demand before you can pick your answer. All right. So let's move. So what's the already the formula is percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in price. Already this thing has been given as what? 8%, right? So we come here, percentage change in quantity demanded will be what? Q2 minus Q1, which is 1492 minus 15, okay, divided by the old one, which is 15. All right. So everything is divided by 8%. That is 8 over 100. Now, 1492 minus 15. So that should give us 8. 8. 1492. So 8 minus 8, right? So this will be times 100 over 8. 8 cancels 8. So I have 0, 0, 0, 0, right? So final answer is 1 over 15 minus 1 over 15. And that will give us minus 0 point. 1 over 15 0.06, 0.0666, so 0.07. Now, I've told you that whenever you are solving for price elasticity, the negative goes away. So your final answer is 0.07. Now, the answer you have here, is it less than 1 or greater than 1? Definitely this is less than 1. So anytime you have less than 1, your answer should be what? Perfectly inelastic. Inelastic. All right, so let's look for inelastic there. So option A, perfectly elastic. You know, perfectly elastic is what? E equals to what? Infinity. Is that not it? Good. Then inelastic is when your E is less than 1. Then elastic is when your E is greater than 1. Unitary is when your E equals to 1. Then, which one again? Perfectly inelastic is when your E equals to what? 0. So which one tallies with this? Inelastic. So go to 10 and pick inelastic. B. And that's all. 11. The main objective of WTO, which is the World Trade Organization, is to dash help countries with chronic balance of payment problem, help debtors nation to solve their problem, ensure adequate tariff protection for inverse industry, provide a mechanism for tariff reduction. So the answer is what? The answer is ensure, no, sorry, World Trade Organization. So A, help countries with chronic balance of payment problems. A. 12. To compare the standard of living among nations, the most widely used economic indicator is dash real domestic output, real gross national income, real per capita nominal income. All these things are just referring to very, very simple concepts. Now, when you hear real domestic output, another name for it is what? Real GDP. When you hear real gross national income, another name for it is what? NI, national income, or GNP. Okay? When you hear real per capita income is the same thing as per capita income. Then per capita nominal income, per capita PCI, per capita nominal income. All right. So they said to compare the standard of living among nations. What are you looking? You know, we always say to compare standard of living, we use per capita income, Abby, and it's the same thing as what? Real per capita income. So what's that? C. In the long run, a firm in a perfectly competitive firm will make A, I just said it, normal profit, B, abnormal profit, C, marginal profit, D, no profit. So your answer will be what? D, no profit. Okay? No profit. 14. The primary goal of development planning in Nigeria is to dash A, increase profitability of enterprises, B, achieve a rapid increase in the welfare and standard of living of Nigeria, C, increase the level of gross domestic product, make Nigeria a superpower. So the answer is what? B, rapid increase in welfare and standard of living. 15. Firms are often set up close to each other in order to take advantage of that. Now, anytime firms stay close to each other, we call it industrialization. What do we call it? Industrialization. 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 Okay? Now, or we can also say localization of industries. Okay? That is when firms are placed side by side to each other. And most of the time, the core of this thing is what? External economies of scale. External economies of scale. That's the core, all right? When firms are placed side by side, is for them to enjoy the benefit of what? Of each other. So let's now move to the question. Since we have a framework, so let's go to the question. Firms are often set up close to each other in order to take advantage of A, supply, skilled labor, B, agglomeration economies, C, internal economies of scale, D, external economies of scale. So what's the answer? External economies of scale, D. 16. The value of money. What's the value of money? The value of money simply depends on what money can buy. That's all. The value of money simply is what money can buy. And it's usually measured by the consumer price index. It's usually measured by the consumer price index. And we can also call the consumer price index the retail price index. Consumer price index, or we call it the retail price index. Okay. Now, so the value of money depends primarily on A, good backing of the currency, B, good backing of both currency and deposits, C, general price level, D, government decree that it is legal tender. So what does the value of money depend on? General price level. So the answer is C. 17. A major effect of long distribution chain is dash. A, high retail price. B, scarcity of commodity. C, low retail price. D, low producer earning. What is the major effect of longer distribution chain? Now, you all know that there's something we call scale of the distribution channel, right? Distribution channel or chains of distribution. Now, I hope you know that it starts from producer or manufacturer, and from there it moves to wholesaler, and from there it moves to retailer, and from there it moves to consumer. Do you know that there are some commodities that move directly from producer to consumer? That's something like that. Okay. Now, there are some that moves from what? It moves from producer, then retailer, then consumer. Okay. So there are different types of the chains or channels of distribution. Now, they are not saying if this thing is long, it is very, very long. Now, assuming you are the producer and you want to sell a commodity, and then the people, to get to your product, there is a longer chain to get to your product. What will it be to you? So, with that in your mind, so let's go to the option. Option A, high retail price. Option B, scarcity of commodities. Option C, low retail price. Option D, you can see. Hello, let me start from D. Low producer earning is not possible. I am producing, and therefore there's something about production. I produce because my commodity has the capacity of satisfying human wants. So therefore, I can't produce something that doesn't command utility. So for it to command utility, it means that certain variables, it must be demanded. All right. Now, B, C, low retail price. Low retail price. Something that has this longer chain. That means it will move from here to here, move from here to here, move from here to here. Now, you are selling it at 10 naira. Wholesaler will never sell it at 10 naira. He will add something, maybe 12. Retailer too will buy, add something, maybe 14. Then consumer will not carry the what? The burden of the high price. So that means, I've said the answer already. So the answer is what? High retail price, which is A. 18. Ranking is the method used in measuring dash. A, marginal utility. B, ordinal. C, cardinal. D, total. Now, what do you mean by ranking? What do you mean by rank? Rank. When you go to so many institutions, especially the force, the army, Authority is distributed by rank. I mean, where you have the colonel, the lieutenant, and all that. But now, when you come to utility, utility too has ranking. When you go to the educational sector, it also has ranking. Now, so everything virtually has ranking. Now, what do you mean by ranking? Ranking means arrangement. Okay, arrangement in order of preference. Arrangement in order of preference. So you can have something like high, have something like low, or you can have higher, lower, or you can have something like first, you can have something like second, you can have something like what? Third, fourth, fifth, like that, and so on. Now, so therefore, there's something we call utility, and I hope you know that utility means satisfaction. Now, under utility, utility has two school of thought or two theories. We have ordinal and we have cardinal. Now, cardinal states that utility is measured in numerical terms. Cardinal states utility is measured in what? Numerical terms. And that numerical terms can be called utils. While ordinal state that utility is measured by ranking. Now, under cardinal, we have three tools: total utility, average utility, marginal utility. And under ordinal, we also have two. We have three here, we have two here. Here is indifference curve, and we have the budget line. Budget line. Now, so when you take ranking and you take the cardinal, you take the ordinal, you take the cardinal. Now, to what effect? Now, so you all know this is my indifference curve, right? Is that not it? So when I have two or three, it becomes what? An indifference map. Now, this is where I'm going to. I have IC1, IC2, IC3. Now, you observe any level on this curve is the same level of satisfaction. Please take note of that. Any level on the indifference curve is the same level of satisfaction, because indifference curve is combining two commodities that yield the same level of satisfaction. So therefore, any curve here, any point on this curve is the same level of satisfaction. So the thing that gives higher preference is when you move outward. Okay, so this indifference curve 3 is the highest satisfaction or higher satisfaction. Are you following? So this is the higher satisfaction. That means that the consumer will go for what? The highest satisfaction, not 1, because 1 is the lowest, it's closer to 0. So you are picking the highest. Now, if I include a budget line is the relationship between income and utility. Or if I don't want to use utility, I can say income and quantity consumed. Okay? Now, when you consider income and quantity, income means money, yes or no? Good. So now I will come here. So you observe, don't forget, I said it's going to pick this guy, right? Now, let me now involve money into the game. I have 1, I have 2, I have 3. So let me place my money here. That means this is the money I have. Now, Jamb will do this. They will put A, they will put B, they will put C. They will call this D, they will call this F. They will now ask, where is the optimum level of the consumer? I'm sure people will go for D, and D is what? Wrong. Now, I'm sure many people will go for what? A. Obviously, A is what? Wrong again. And people will say, no, the answer is C, and C is what? Wrong again. And what's the answer? B. Why is it B? Because B level here That is where my money lies. That is where my budget line equals to what? My indifference curve. I see. So where the budget line and the indifference curve, where they are touching each other, you call it what? Consumer equilibrium. Okay? So this is where you are going to pick. Now, let me test your intelligence again. So let's say I have another one here. 1, 2, 3. And I'll give you 1 here. I gave you 2 here. It's not touching very well. Okay, it's better. And I said A, B, C. So where is the optimum level? The optimum level definitely will be what? Will be B. You know why? This is an optimum level. It is A. But the B here is what? Is higher than A. So therefore, I will go for what? B. But at the being there is no B and the thing is in A, that means I will go for A. I hope you get the logic. So that's how it is. So B is the what? Optimum level. That means consumer equilibrium. Okay? Good. Now, so who propounded cardinal theory? Cardinal theory was invented by Adam Smith. So put that down. Then ordinal was propounded by Hicks and Allen. Hicks and Allen. They were partners. Okay. So let's move. Let's answer the question. So ranking is by what? Ordinal utility. Are you following? So as we move, we are going to take, if there's any other question that comes out of it, because it's a very wide topic, I don't want to stay on it. So let's move on to question 19. Question 19 give us a diagram. Okay, but I believe somebody needs this graph. Somebody wants to see this graph. So let me draw it. This graph of 1, 2, 3. This is TU, this is AU, this is MU. Okay? Now, this is the highest point of satisfaction. This is 0. Abi? Now, this is the point where your satisfaction has gotten to the highest peak. So we call it point of saturation, POS. Okay? Point of saturation. Now, once you have gotten here, you observe that anything after this place, your utility begins to go down. Now, where I'm really interested in is this point and this point. Now, at the highest point of satisfaction, now let's consider what is my MU? MU is 0, right? So you say when your total utility is at the maximum point, what do you call MU? Marginal utility is what? 0. Now that's point 1. Point 2, when total utility is decreasing, like it is falling, what is your marginal utility? Your marginal utility is what? Negative. So take that point 2 down. The first point is when your total utility is at the maximum point, what happens to your marginal utility? It is what? 0. And when your total utility is falling, your marginal utility becomes negative. So another word for that is what? Disutility or diminishing marginal utility. Please take that down. Take that down. Very, very, very important. All right. So you can call it disutility or diminishing marginal utility. And it's very simple. Diminishing marginal utility is just saying that as your consumption is increasing, your marginal utility will be what? Falling. As your consumption is increasing, your marginal utility will first increase and later it will start falling. Then it will fall up to a point of what? Negativity. It's very simple. Okay? Let me take it again. Diminishing marginal utility, it is when your satisfaction increases up to a point or your marginal utility increases up to a point, then it starts what? Falling. It starts falling up to a point of what? Negativity. Okay, now 19 have this, and this. So they call this DO, DO, D1, D1. From the diagram, DODO, the original demand curve, then I can't really see what is here, but I think they are asking what is the movement from DODO to D1, D1? That's what they are asking. So you observe, I told you, always have a framework. Now, what is happening here? This is a what? Is a rightward shift in demand. So this diagram, you call it what? Change in demand or shift in the demand curve. Shift in the demand curve. Okay? Now, so that means this thing here, price is what? Is constant. Okay? Hope you know. Put it at the back of your mind. Price is constant. Okay. So they said A, fall in the demand curve. B, rise in the demand curve. C, an extension in the demand. D, none of these curves. So what's the answer? I told you this is an outward shift. But when it comes inside, it's what? It's an inward shift. So outward means increase, inward means decrease. So definitely the answer is what? Outward. And outward is increase, which is what? B. So you can see that there's nothing that concerns price with this guy. Economics is the study of human behavior as it relates to dash, efficient allocation of resources, production of goods, operation of company, income. So very simple, Abi. So I hope you still remember the definition of economics, which is we have what you call the Adam Smith definition, we have Alfred Marshall definition, and you have what? The famous guy, which is what? Lionel Robinson. Okay. So the answer is A, efficient allocation of resources. 21. A country is said to have absolute advantage when she have a framework. So I keep repeating this thing. You don't have a framework, Jamb will just toss you up and down with their option. Now, so when we say absolute advantage, we have absolute advantage and you have comparative cost advantage. These are theories under international trade. These are theories under what? International trade. Now, absolute costs. Now, it's very simple. Absolute cost is just telling you that produce that thing that you have more of, or produce that thing in which you have more of the resources. But comparative, produce that thing in which your what? Your opportunity cost is what? The lowest. Are you following? Good. So now let's go back to the question. A country is said to have absolute advantage. So now you know what you are looking for. You know that this one consists what? Opportunity cost. So anything opportunity cost in the option, you back off. Right? Good. So A, higher opportunity cost, back off. B, can sell to other countries without buying from them. Okay. C, can produce more of any goods with fewer resources. Okay. D, has a lower, that one, back off. So therefore, your answer is what? Between B and C. And I can tell you for free, the answer is what? C. Produce more of any good with fewer resources. Question 22. Now, in order to maximize his profit, a businessman who faces a very elastic demand for his product is advised to dash. Hello? You want to maximize profits. Okay? So what is the advice you will give a businessman? Okay, option A. Slightly increase the price of his product. Oh, there's something you need to take note of. Who faces a very elastic demand? He faces a very what? Elastic demand. Elastic. So now you've done elastic, Abby. And what is elastic? Elastic demand simply means when there is a small change in price, and that small change in price leads to what? A greater percentage change in quantity demanded. That means when you increase the price a little, many people or many people will react. Are you following? That means that the commodity is not too much of a what? A necessity. It's more like, you're serious? Are you following? Now, A, slightly increase the price of his product. When you slightly increase, there will be problem. That means it will lead to what? A greater change in quantity demanded. Don't forget, you want to maximize profits. So B, slightly reduce the price of his product. C, leave the price unchanged. D, discriminate his price. You see, as that businessman, you go and advise to discriminate price for an elastic demand, you just pack those goods and go back to your house. Because the discrimination of price is very, very common in what? In a monopolistic competition, or a monopolist. Okay? Now, something just crossed my mind. Let me just tell you that very sharp. A monopolistic competition is an imperfect market, right? Good. Now, under monopolistic competition, please, they have what you call price discrimination and product differentiation. Product differentiation, meaning they can differentiate their product and they can discriminate their price. That is why most of the time, when you want to buy Coke in a restaurant that is on the island, they will sell the Coke for you. Not even on the island. Like, you want to buy in a restaurant, a very, good restaurant, very good, where you enter, you understand, the arrangement, everything is just too superb. You can't buy a bottle of Coke in that place for 600 naira or 500 naira. It's what? The price would have been discriminated. Why? Because there is a product differentiation. So it's not that they are cheating you. Do you get it? They differentiated their product. So therefore, there is a need to discriminate their price. Are you following? So this thing is actually common to a monopolistic competition. Okay? Then when you say a monopolistic competition, they can control both price and quantity. They can control what? Both price and quantity. Very, very important. They can control both price and quantity. Then a monopolist can only control either price or quantity. Are you following? Okay. So forgive me for bringing that in. No, now let's go. So the answer here should be what? Slightly reduce the price of his product. So the answer is B. When you reduce the price, let me give you a mathematical implication. You all know that if price is 10 naira, somebody bought, let's say, 200, or somebody bought 40. So what's the total revenue? Total revenue is what? Price times quantity, which is 10 times 40. And what's that? 400. Abi? Now imagine you reduce the price. When you reduce the price from 5 naira to 10 naira, that means the people that will buy, the quantity demanded will increase. Don't forget the law of demand. Lower the price, higher the quantity demanded. So people can increase to what? To 80, or even to what? To 100. But yeah, now what's your total revenue? Total revenue will now be what? 5 times 100, which is what? 500 naira. You can see now. So when you reduce your price, your total revenue will what? Increase. And when your total revenue increase, definitely your profit will also increase. Are you following? So that is why we picked what? B. Oh yeah. 24. A Nigerian, 23. Now, 1, 2, 3, 8. I think this is straight. This is down. Then this is up. So I have Y. Z. Next. So the relationship between tax rate. Once I hear tax rate, I have a framework. So what's my framework? Progressive tax. What's this? Proportional tax. What's this? Regressive tax. So you can see, this is my framework. So I will now go to the option. I will now say, they will now ask, the relationship between tax rate and income is relevant to a progressive tax is shown by dash. So is it curve A? Is it curve X, curve Y, curve Z, or X and Z? So between tax rate and income is relevant to progressive tax. So progressive tax, where is it? This is it, up. So it is what? Y. And what is Y? Y is B. 23. You can see that when you have a framework, it eliminates guessing from your what? From your entire ball game. Are you following? If you want to score 300 and above, remove guessing. Okay. 24. A Nigerian household demand score for semovita is downward slope because the demand for semovita is high. Local market are flooded with semovita. It is produced in Nigeria. Higher prices attract lower quantity, while lower prices attract larger quantities. Hello, it's just asking you what is the law of demand. And what is that? We just said it now. And the answer is what? Higher prices attract lower quantity, and that 25. You can see that there are some questions that once you read it and the framework comes to your mind, literally sometimes you don't even finish reading all the options, you pick your answer. Literally. 25. A country will be overpopulated. Boom. Now, I know overpopulated. That means overpopulation is in my head. That's my framework. Then, apart from that, this also comes to my mind again. Another framework where I have this. Abi, where I have this, and this is called underpopulation. This is called optimum, and this is called overpopulation. Are you following? So, in this scenario, I have here to be population, I have here to be output per head. Output per head. So you observe that in an underpopulation, what happens? The output per head, what's going on there? Is increasing. Abi, you can see it's increasing, but population is what? Is not too much, but the population is also trying to what? Increase. Are you following? Now, when you move to overpopulation, the population is what? It has passed the what? The optimum stage. Now, it is actually an underpopulation based on the fact that they are keeping the population at the barest minimum. The population is still increasing at a what? At a slower rate. So as it is increasing at a slower rate, it meets up the what? The optimum requirement. The optimal population is the best population, where you have the highest output per head. Are you following? So, but anytime the output per head starts falling and the population is increasing, what do you now have? You have what? An overpopulation. That means resources is fewer and people are more. And people will suffer. I've been with that kind of scenario. So this thing is in my head. This is my framework. Abi, now you have the same framework. So let's go to the question together. Now, 25. A country will be overpopulated when A, death rate is high. B, death rate is low. C, growth rate is high. D, the population is increasing more than the resources of the country. So what is your answer now? You can see, Jamb, if you don't have a framework, somebody can easily go for death rate is high. It will also lead to overpopulation. But already you have said overpopulation is a theory where people are more than resources. Is that not what we are seeing there? We are seeing the population is increasing more than. So our answer is what? D. So always have a framework. Once you have a framework of that topic at your mind, you will never be tossed by Jamb. You will cheat Jamb like what? Like cards. 26. Economics may be defined as the study of money and banking, study of market and price, study of human behavior in the allocation of scarce resources, study of employment of labor, land, and capital. Yes, okay, let me take it again. Economics may be defined as A, study of money and banking, B, study of market and prices, C, the study of human behavior in the allocation of scarce resources, D, the study of the employment of labor, land, and capital. So what's the answer? 2 seconds. 1, 2. Good. So I believe you are picking the answer I'm also picking. And the answer is what? C, study of human behavior. 27. All right. 27. In international trade, a country specializes in the production of a commodity or group of commodities for which it has. Hello. Let me take the question again. In international trade, a country specializes. See what is framing my framework now? Specialization. Because I'm saying specializes there, Abby. So specialization. What's the next thing? In the production of a commodity or group of commodities for which it has. Now, when you hear international trade and you are hearing specializes in the commodity, the two things that should come to your framework or the thing that should constitute answers should what? Should be that theory, comparative cost and absolute cost advantage. Now, you know that comparative is what? It deals with opportunity cost. The lower, then absolute cost, the higher the resources you have, the more the things you can produce. Now, we now have a framework, Abi. So now let's go to our option. A buoyant market. B, plenty of raw materials. C, greatest relative advantage. D, executive manpower. So what is closer to this? You know, now we have a framework, and our framework is absolute and comparative. So what is similar to any of the two? They said relative advantage. Hello. The thing is called what? Comparative. Abi? So when you are dealing with specialization, you must deal with what? What you have plenty of raw material. That's B. That's what? Absolute cost. You can see the way you are following your framework. 28. Which of the following are the advantages of Nigerian membership of ECOWAS? Greater opportunity for trade accord cooperative to cooperative cost advantage. II, a large market for industries producing under conditions of decreasing cost. Then III, competition for home abroad monopoly firms. So definitely the answer is what? I and II only. So I and II only, which is a greater opportunity for trade, and II is a large market for industry producing what? Under conditions of decreasing cost. So this is the advantage Nigeria has with ECOWAS as a member. So A. Okay. 29. In a public company, entrepreneurial functions are performed by. What is a public company? public company, a company that is owned by the government, abi? Wrong. Wrong. It's not that. We have what you call public company. A public company is not owned by the government. It is the public enterprise that is owned by the government. So public company, it is called public because it has what? These characteristics of people what? Buying their shares. So we call it what? Public quoted company. There are some companies that people cannot buy their shares. I hope you know. They call them what? Unquoted company. Unquoted. But if you can buy their shares, they are what? They are quoted. Are you following? That means when you say quoted, they are listed in the what? In the stock exchange market. But unquoted, they are not listed. Okay? Good. So in a public company, entrepreneurial functions are performed by the. Now, I'm trying to build a framework before you go to the option. Entrepreneur. Who is an entrepreneur? The person that controls all the what? All other factors of production. Now I have a framework. In a public company, I know a public company, they didn't tell us whether unquoted or quoted. So I will assume, economics is full of assumption, right? So I'm going to assume this is what? A quoted public company. Then secondly, they are saying entrepreneurial function. And I know an entrepreneur. What does he do? It controls all other factors. Now I have that framework. So I'll go to my option. A, workers. Can workers control all other factors? B, shareholders. Does shareholders control all other factors? C, general manager. Do they? D, board of directors. So what do you think will be the answer? Very simple. Now, if you take shareholders are investors, and they are also what? Owners. But guess what? They are owners that employ people to control. Are you following? So therefore, anytime you are in a public company, their management or the management control is in the hands of the what? Board of directors. Are you following? Good. So anytime you are dealing with public company, their entrepreneurial function is done by who? The board of directors. Board of directors. Now, 30. Derived demand is normally used with reference to dash. Hello, let's create a framework. What is derived demand? It is when you demand for a commodity, not for the immediate use, but because it has the ability for giving you what? Something else. So when you demand for an economics teacher, you are not demanding for an economics teacher because you like the economics teacher. No, you demand for an economics teacher because that person has the ability to satisfy your knowledge in that subject matter. Yes or no? Good. I believe you are saying yes, Abi. All right. So that means that derived demand is usually linked with what? Now we have created a framework that you are not doing it for direct what? Consumption. So it's an indirect consumption. Is that not it? For example, demanding for laptop because you want to use it and make money. Abi, you can see. So now let's go to the option. A, superior goods. I believe that some of you now, you are negating the answer as I'm reading it. A, superior goods. B, inferior goods. C, cost of production. D, factors of production. What's your answer? Thank you very much. I can hear your spirit talking. So 30 is what? D, factors of production. Now 31. The money paid per hour for work done, they wrote work down. The paid per hour for work done is A, cost, B, salary, C, bonus, D, wage rate. Sorry, let's create a framework. Abi? Money paid per hour for work done. Money paid per hour for work done definitely is called what? Wage rate. So the answer is D, 32. Find the median of the following set of data. So before you find the median, you have to rearrange and you pick the middle number. So let's rearrange from the lowest to the highest. So I am seeing 14. Okay, let me write it first so that you can try. Because I want to believe that some of you will not have the, because there's something with these past questions. It's not arranged, you know. This is consolidated past question. So just try. This is the body, okay? So in case you don't, it's not on some of these platforms online, you can actually get this same thing so that you can work with me as we move together, okay? There's this flow that we are moving together. It's an adventure, right? I hope you're enjoying it. All right, so 32. So let's write the number 35, 10, 14, 38, 15, 18, 22, 30, and 28. So we are going to arrange from the lowest to the biggest, right? Is that ascending order or descending order? Ascending order. Very good, very good. So 14, then 14, we move to 15. From 15, 18. From 18, 22, okay? From 22, 28. From 28, 30. 30, 35. 35, 38. So I believe I've concluded it, right? That is from lowest to highest. So let's pick the middle number. This goes, this goes, this goes, this goes, this. So I have two numbers, Abby. So what I'll just do is 22 plus 28 and divide by 2. And that's 50. And that's what? 25. Okay? Now, so that's 25. So A, 10. B, 38. C, 35. D, 22. Okay? So this 25 is the median. I hope, let me redo it in case to remove any error. Let's try it one more time. So let's start 14, 15. I hope I included all the numbers. 35, 10, 14, 38, 15, 18, 22, 30, and 20. Okay, correct with that. So let's move. 14. Okay, this is gone. This is gone. So 18 is next. It's gone. And what is next? Oh, I'm very sorry, guys. I'm very, very sorry, guys. I should have started with 10. Abi? 14. Then the next one is 15. I'm very sorry, guys. Then the next one is 18. Okay. Then the next one is 22. Okay. 30. No, 28. And 30, 35, then 38. Okay. All right. So let's take it from the back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the answer is 22. Okay. So I'm very sorry for that earlier. So the answer is D. Okay. So most of the time, dealing with numbers, you have to be extremely careful. You have to be very, very careful. All right. So 33. So 33, optimum population is defined as the level of, we have a framework. Abi? No, we've done it before. So now let's move. So since we have a framework, so we must pick an answer that tallies with it. So we know what we are looking for. It's not Jamb that will not tell us what to do. We know it ourselves. We know what to do. Is that not it? So let's look for. So let me read the option. Optimum population is defined as the level of population at which per capita output is maximized, population is neither increasing nor decreasing, total national income is maximized, marginal efficiency of production is maximized. So what's the answer? A. Per capita output is maximized. You can see that when you have a framework, you can see I'm repeating this. 34. For two substitute goods, the cross elasticity of demand is dash. Now, let us create a framework. We have types of elasticity of demand. I hope you know. And who can now tell me what are the types of elasticity of supply? We only have price elasticity of supply, no other again. But for elasticity of demand, we have one, we have price, we have cross, and we have what? Income. So for cross, you have three. We have positive, we have negative, and you have what? Zero. Okay. Now this zero means unrelated goods. Are you following? Cross is combining two commodities together. So zero means what? Unrelated goods. Positive means substitute goods. Then negative means what? Complementary goods. Are you following? Now, you can see that now we have created a framework. We have created a framework, Abi. We know that in cross, we know that positive is substitute, negative is what? I just said it. Negative is complementary goods. Goods that are used together. Abi? Now that we have a framework, now let's go to the option. For two substitute goods, the cross elasticity of demand is A, greater than 1 but less than 2. Don't know when economics has turned to this thing. B, 0. C, negative. D, positive. We have a framework, Abi. And what is, according to our framework, what's that? Positive. So we just go and we just, sorry, D. Select your answer and leave. In this case, you will be confident of your answer. 35. In any economy, what is used as money is determined by. Now let's create a framework. In any economy, what is used as money is determined by. So that means we are asking of what is money. So you have to define money. Money is any commodity that is generally what? Accepted. Generally accepted. The keyword generally accepted. Okay, as a medium of exchange and settlement of debt. Are you following? So that means for something to be generally acceptable, you should know that the government of the country accepts it. Are you following? You should know for something that you can give your fellow brother to what? To compensate him or to pay as a result of the debt you owe must be what? Economically what? Applicable to all sectors. Are you following? So now we have a framework, right? Let's go to the option. A, government acceptance of a commodity standard. Government acceptance of an incompatible paper standard. C, laws and custom. D, it is used as a store of value. So what's the answer? Government acceptance. Abi? A. You can see how good a framework is now, Abi? 36. If the price of a ballpoint pen falls from 1 naira to 60 kobo, the quantity demanded increases from 200 to 300. The point elasticity of demand is equal to, I know people will now be saying, Sir, point elasticity. They didn't ask for just normal elasticity. Sir, how do we do it? It's the same thing. Point elasticity is just a formula, right? Yes. So, point elasticity, percentage formula, okay? You will all arrive at the same destination. Same answer. Are you following? The only thing you won't arrive at the same answer is what? Is arc. Arc price elasticity. Okay? So what's the formula for point elasticity? That is price elasticity of demand equals to what? Change in Q, change in price, times the old price and old quantity. So you know that change in quantity means Q2 minus Q1. So let's write the information they gave us. So they said the price from 1 fall to 60. So P1 old price is 1 naira. P2 new 0.60. So what's Q1? It increased from 200. Then Q2 is what? 300. So now we have this. So P2 minus P1, change in P, oh, sorry, change in Q first. Then change in P. Abi? All right. Times, what's my P1? 1. What's my Q1? 200. So I will have here 100, this is 0.4, then times 1 over 200. So this will cancel, I have 2. So the answer is 1 over 0.4 times 2. And 0.4 times 2 is 0.8. So 1 divided by 0.8, Abi? So what should be the answer? So some of you can actually use the inverse. You know, that's 1 divided by 8 over 10. So the answer is 10 over 8. So the answer should be 4 point something. The 1 point something. But let's go with calculator. 1 divided by 0.8. So 1.25. 1.25. So you know there's 0.60. So this is my minus, Abi. Minus. But you know we don't really need the minus now, Abi. So 1.25. Okay. So what's the answer? 1.25. The answer is A. Okay. 37. Oh yeah, interpret it for me. That's what? Elastic. Because it is greater than 1. Okay. 37. Which of the following yields more revenue to Nigeria? Value-added tax, royalty, indirect tax, and direct tax. So, which of the following yield more revenue? No, more revenue. Which of the following yield more revenue? So, what yield more revenue? Is it direct tax? Now, there's a misconception here. Can I explain this? We have two types of tax: indirect and direct tax. Okay. Now, under direct tax, we have something we call petroleum profit tax. And in the Nigerian economy, you know, what did they ask in the question? In Nigeria. Now, PPT, petroleum profit tax. And you know petroleum is one of the major income yielding this thing in the country, Abi. So any tax that is on this thing, you can see. So therefore, because this, Abi, so the answer should be what? Direct. And PPT is under direct tax. So therefore, our answer is 38. Export promotion policy is primarily concerned with what is export promotion. Exportation is buying goods from outside, abi. So what is export promotion? You want to increase exportation. Now we have a framework. Processing of raw material to increase their value, making of international routes safe for export commodity, reduction in the number of imported items, the encouragement of the production of export commodity. So what's the answer? The answer is encouragement of the production of export commodity. D. So you are trying to encourage. Okay. 39. Which of the following producer is closest to being a monopoly? Baker, wheat farmer, large chain store, automobile plant. Which of the following producer is closest to being a monopoly? One major seller, many buyer. Now, do you know that for a monopoly, you can be a monopoly by your size? Because if you are huge and you are big, your technology will be high and you will do things differently from others. So therefore, the answer should be a large chain store. C. Question 14. The loans from the World Bank to developing countries are mainly to support dash. A. Establishment of more university. B. Capital intensive technology, infrastructural investment, their low level of consumption. Now there's a way okay, questions like this, they usually have one narrow objective. And that narrow objective centers around development, 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 or anything that increases welfare. All right. So the loan from the World Bank to developing countries now are mainly to support. Is it establishment of more universities? Is it capital intensive technology, infrastructural investment, their low level of consumption? So a country that, now mind you, they didn't say underdeveloped, they said developing. So the answer there should be what? Infrastructural development. So this is 2021. In our next class, oh, let me show you the back again. So in case you don't have it, okay. So in our next class, we'll be moving on to 2022. Okay. All right. So thank you very much. And if you have any questions which you have unsettled, you can just send it. Okay. You can send it. Then we are always happy to give you a reply. Thank you very much, and we'll meet next week. Have a lovely day. Hello, please, can you call Mr. Moji? Hello, can you call Mr. Moji and tell him I'm done? Can call me. Mo ti stop ẹ̀ ń bẹ̀, mo ti stop ẹ̀ ń bẹ̀.